All right, welcome everyone. Welcome back to our weekly webinar series, Embracing Change. As you can see, I'm in a different location. I'm actually in Dubai at a dear friend's home. Flew in Monday morning. My brother is not well, and interestingly, he has something that's beyond rare. And we've been having a very interesting experience, which has been quite challenging. So excuse me, Dr. Michel Golay, if I'm not 150% here with you, which I will be. Obviously, that's what we're trained for, right? To be present and engaged. And I want to thank you, Dr. Golay, for coming back. Last time we spoke about gut and brain, and today we're going to talk about sleep. So let's start with very basic, right? The basics of why is sleep important, and what are the actual chemicals that are important to be able for us to have a quality sleep. Let's start from the from the basics. Yes.
Hello everyone. It's nice for me to be back, and so to get to the subject right away, I would say, why is it important to sleep? Our body is changing all the time. It's adapting all the time. So that means we're breaking down, we're building new things all the time. And all the catabolic activities, which means the breaking down and the repair mechanism, are taking place during the night. And so it's during the night that we clean ourselves. It's the night we do recover, and we can clean all the mess we are doing during the day. So the importance of sleep is really for that purpose essentially. And all these cleaning mechanisms are under the control of the parasympathetic system. I talked last time about the autonomic nervous system with the two parts, with the balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic system make us get through our days, facing stress, facing all the needs we've got to cover. And during the night, the parasympathetic system clean ourselves and reverse the situation and make us ready for the next day. Okay. So that's the main importance of sleep for all the animals on Earth, right? And actually, the human is certainly the animals that sleep the less. And the cats, the dogs are sleeping much more than we do. And because I think our brain is more efficient than the brain of the animals and things like that. Anyway, so that's the main message is sleep means recovery, means repair, means staying healthy.
Okay.
So that means
so we can go to the chemicals and the different types of sleep,
okay.
Right?
So we've got sleep is induced. We live on a 24 hours circadian circle, and to induce sleep, we've got waves in the brain that are generated. No? We've got alpha wave, delta wave, all kinds of waves that are generated. And to generate the sleep wave, actually, during the day, the light of the sun, the daylight, all the light we've got, make us accumulated some chemical compound. The main one is called adenosine. And once that the amount of adenosine is high enough in our body, it creates the introduction of the delta wave, which will induce through the autonomic nervous system the production of serotonin, which later turn on to melatonin, and melatonin will induce the sleep. So that's the way, that's the way it works. Normally, you get the light from the day, and then once you've got enough adenosine, it makes you tired, and it generates the waves that triggers the sleep. That's the normal process. Okay. There is other compound that makes basically the same, but it's the adenosine is the main one for that. So that's the process to get into sleep. but there is a lot of other things going on. I don't know if we talk about that now, or I think I answer your question. Where do you want to go from there?
So what are the different types of sleep, and what is quality sleep and what is quantity sleep? Like what does it look like, right? And how can we achieve it?
So there is five stage of sleep, right?
Okay.
Actually, the first, there is the light sleep, the deep sleep, and the paradoxal sleep, which they all have a specific characteristic, but the four of them are under parasympathetic control. The light sleep and the deep sleep are under parasympathetic control, and the paradoxal sleep is under sympathetic sleep. We've got phases normally throughout the night. The night we've got hopefully 4 to 5 cycles of sleep, and those cycles of sleep last about 90 minutes or so. It's slightly different for everybody, as usual. It's average, huh? So and normally we should spend, to have a good night of sleep, we should have about 1 hour and a half of deep sleep over the whole night. The rest is light sleep and the different phase of paradoxal.
But those are still important, right, or not? Are those still important or not?
They are important, but the period where you really recover, where all the catabolic activities, all are really mainly during the deep sleep stage.
Okay, so we're normally, normally they say you should try and achieve 5 sleep cycles. Now it's different for every person, or how does that work?
It can be different. It can be different for every person, because we are able now with the system, the heart rate variability assessment, we are able to assess not only the length of sleep, but also the quality of sleep. So there is people that are able in 4 hours of sleep to have a really huge amount of deep sleep, and that they are able to recover fully from what they've done the day before.
Okay, but what about long term? Isn't there a risk? When we spoke about some of the families you take care of from our side, we had that discussion about
the risk for those people that are gifted by God or whatever it is, they've got that ability to recover well. The risk is that those people do too much. Because since they recover, they've got increased work abilities. They can do a lot of things better than others. They recover well, so they work better, more, and then they get if they respect themselves, lucky for them. But most of the time, those people don't do that, and then at the end they get overload and get the problem of sleep like everybody else, and then they don't recover.
So if generally it's 5 sleep cycles, right? Yeah, and I'm only getting, for example, 4 or 3, because there's a number of people that are present today, and those will listen to the recording, who are getting 2 to 3 sleep cycles, not even 4 to 5. And is it important that you don't wake up during those sleep cycles? Can you give us a little bit of an idea?
Actually, between each sleep cycle, everybody's waking up.
Okay.
All the time. It can be 1 minute. You may not realize that you're waking up, but there is a awakening phase. But normally we jump from one phase to the other without any problem.
So if you wake up and you know and you don't know, is there a difference in quality?
Not necessarily. No, it doesn't make that much difference. It's not an issue. You can remember most people at least once during the night they wake up to go to the toilet, and they come back, they fall asleep, and they
so that's okay. There's no issue with that.
There is no issue.
Most of the time they tell you that you're waking up when you're in absolute deep REM sleep. That's when you're waking up. You don't really need to go to the bathroom, but you're getting bounced out.
Exactly.
So what is that? Is that real, or is that just a myth?
I think it's a myth.
Okay. So it's Go ahead.
It's normal. You wake up to go to the bathroom at the end of the sleep cycle.
Okay.
You're not going to wake up in the middle, and so it's going to be at the end of the. Then you go to the toilet, and then you can continue like that, no problem.
Okay. So now I woke up. I did 3 sleep cycles.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, and I've woken up. Now, what do I do?
Yeah. But if you did 3 very good sleep cycles, it may be enough for you, huh?
Yeah, but psychologically, I would not accept that. So let's say, what do you recommend? I see how I feel.
If you feel rested in the morning with energy, that means you slept enough.
It's 2:30 in the morning. I go to bed at 10. I wake up at 2:30. So I don't even check if I'm feeling rested. I actually go back to sleep. So is that, I do that or I shouldn't do that?
Okay, no, we've got, if you wake up at 2:30, it's way too soon, right? For sure, it's way too soon. And then there is ways to, so now maybe we should talk about all the different things that can go wrong, and that can affect your quality of sleep.
Okay, let's talk about that. Yes.
So, and then then everybody can find himself what may be the issue for his own sleep problem, and then we will try to provide some solution for each of them. Okay.
Yes. Perfect.
So the first common as far as the quality of the brain, the quality of the sleep of the brain, the main issue, the main problem may be the production of serotonin and melatonin.
Okay.
That could be one of the things. You get you got the sleep wave from the production from the adenosine, that it get to the autonomic nervous system, and you don't even have enough either tryptophan, which is the precursor of the serotonin, or enough of the cofactor to make the chemical reaction, and then you're not able to produce the serotonin or the melatonin, then you don't get a problem of sleep. Okay. So it can be the tryptophan problem. Tryptophan is an amino acid that you get into food.
Okay.
So it can be a problem of intake of tryptophan, but it can be a problem of constipation, because if you constipate, the tryptophan is oxidized in your gut and it cannot be absorbed, so it's not available in your system. It can be an issue of tryptophan because you've got too much work to do in the liver, and the tryptophan is also used in the detoxification system of the liver. So if you've got too much detox work to do in the liver, your tryptophan would go to the liver instead of going to your brain. So that would be.
But that would be caused by what? Too much work in the liver.
Oh, that would be. It can be because you drink too much alcohol, because you ate improper food intake, and then you increase the load on your liver.
Okay.
So that would be the causes of lack of tryptophan, which is the precursor of the serotonin. But the cofactor, also the main cofactor that you need to produce the neurotransmitter are vitamin B9, B12, and there is all what we call methyl donors, which are the methyl donors are helpful to create those chemical reactions. So, and B9, B12, B12 is very commonly, if you've got some kind of candida, the fungi infection of the gut, candida loves B12. So there is a lot of people that are lacking B12, and so in that case they've got problem with that. So those are issues that you can solve by asserting gut function, which leads to brain dysfunction because you cannot produce the neurotransmitter. Okay. So that would be one. Okay. The second thing that affects mainly a lot the brain is there is the surenal gland. They produce cortisol. Okay. Cortisol, and there is an inverse relationship between cortisol level and melatonin. Okay. So to go to sleep, you've got to have an increase of melatonin during around 9-10 o'clock, and it's got to be very high between 8 in the evening till midnight, which should introduce the sleep. And the cortisol should be very high in the morning and low in the evening. But cortisol is the stress hormone, right? Okay. So if you got too much stress, your adrenal glands are produce too much cortisol, which leads to either decreased production of melatonin, because if you got as long as you got high cortisol, you cannot produce the melatonin. So if you got too much stress, too much work on your adrenal glands, you will have also the difficulty to produce the melatonin and to get it.
Okay, so going into cortisol, other than stress, can you give us a little more deeper example of what can cause that increase in cortisol? Just give
increase of cortisol. Huh?
Yeah. What are the elements?
The stress on all these. It can be emotional stress. It can be physical stress. Okay. It can be chemical stress.
Yeah, mental stress.
Again, if you got too much chemical going in your system, it creates stress. It will increase cortisol. So it can be all the three factors.
Okay.
So that's also important. So it's also one thing we can do testing. It's a good way. You do salivary test at 8 in the morning, at 3 in the afternoon, at 8 at night, and you test both cortisol and melatonin. And you can see if there is a good reverse curve. Okay. And so that then you can assess either the melatonin problem or try to figure out how to decrease the stress and decrease the cortisol production.
And what about the other test that's done through urine collection over a certain number of time? Is that not as effective?
It's not as all the urinary tests. For the melatonin, you want to measure what is produced within your brain.
Yeah.
And because we also produce melatonin in the gut, and we also produce all the neurotransmitters are produced in the gut and in the brain. We've got the same neurotransmitters are produced in the gut and in the brain. And most often, when you do urinary evaluation, you're testing the gut production instead of brain production.
And blood? So, can you do this through blood or not? Anything you can do through blood in terms of, or is not reliable as well?
You can test. Yeah, you can do some tests through blood, but again, the effectiveness of each test is quite.
I'm asking because there's a lot of people who are doing these, and they're not realizing the ineffectiveness of many of them, right? So I want them to understand that there are differences, and like you said, between gut and brain.
The main example is everybody that takes urinary pH in the morning. You know, there's thousands of people that are doing that. And unfortunately, it's not valid, and so we can use it. So coming back to the subject of sleep, so we talk about cortisol and melatonin.
Yeah.
And the third thing that is very important nowadays are the screens, right? So being behind the computer all day like we do.
So they shouldn't watch Michel Golay before they go to bed. Huh?
Exactly. So, but that's a big issue, huh? Because what if you spend too much time behind the screen? You create dysfunction of the brain itself. You create plasticity within your brain, and plasticity within the brain means that all your system that your adenosine that is producing and releasing the wave. When you got too much activity and change in the plasticity of your brain, this phenomenon does not happen anymore. And if you got really plasticity, you're not able to generate the sleep wave anymore properly.
So how many hours of screen time are you talking about that would make you compromised?
I don't have any figure on that.
Because a lot of mothers and fathers are now watching, and kids are studying online, And that was a discussion I had with my business partner today when we were on a Zoom call.
It's a big issue. Actually, you need to have rest period.
Okay.
I don't think we should spend more than 2-3 hours before having a break, at least 1 or 2 hours, and then go back. And we should have at least 1 hour, 1.5 hours before going to bed without screen in front of us.
Okay.
But there is ways to protect yourself against plasticity.
Okay.
The main there is 2 things that you've got to protect yourself, and those are nutritional factors.
Okay.
The main factors to protect against plasticity is magnesium.
Okay.
Because magnesium really prevents the plasticity to develop. So make sure, to me, that's one of my main indications for magnesium. I know magnesium is used all over the world for many reasons, but for me, the main reason would be to protect against strain.
So is that something you would recommend in general, or you would it based on review? Based on a medical review by you, or is that something that you recommend generally to people to have magnesium as part of their vitamin?
To prevent plasticity. You know, okay. we know that the magnesium calms down the brain.
Okay.
Is the main down factor of the brain, so it prevents plasticity.
Okay.
So people that are spending a lot of time behind a computer that have a chance to create plasticity, then to have enough magnesium is a good thing. Plus, when you've got plasticity, when you develop plasticity, you've got all the time a lot of oxidative stress in the brain. Yeah. So it's very important to give brain antioxidant. And the main brain antioxidant are astaxanthin, there are lutein, those kind of antioxidants, and to have enough of those antioxidants for your brain can also protect against that, and will increase the sleep quality as well.
Okay.
Okay. So to me, that would be the 3 factor affecting the brain, the brain sleep. But then there is all the digestive brain affecting the autonomic nervous system.
Yeah.
For instance, if you've got inflammation in the gut,
yeah,
that means all the time, 24 hours a day, you've got information coming from the gut to the autonomic nervous system, telling, I've got inflammation, there is something wrong in my gut. And this will also disturb the quality of sleep. Because then the activation of sleep won't be as effective as it could be. So we get back to the talk that we had the last time about all the gut issue that could disturb the sleep. Yeah. You know that sleep disturbances increase heart disease, increase infectious disease, increase the rate of diabetes type 2, increase the rate of all the disease. All the diseases in the world are linked to sleep dysfunction.
Wow.
Because again, it's the recovery system of our system, and everything.
But behind the sleep, there's also, like you said, gut issues, constipation,
exactly.
all kinds of things, right?
Exactly.
Behavioral, lifestyle.
Exactly.
So we have to. The sleep is number 1, right? When we talk about my eating and drinking, my movement.
How does it affect your sleep? We can always measure, if I do this, how does it affect my sleep? If I do that, how does it affect my sleep? And if it affects your sleep in a good way, so what you're doing is going to be good for you.
Yeah, because we always ask, when you make changes, how do you feel? And you're saying, only ask yourself how you feel, how is it affecting my sleep, right? That's the question. You're saying to add a second question.
Exactly.
Specific to sleep, because that's the foundation. Okay.
Okay. So now we could talk about what to eat and when to eat.
Yes.
Because that's also a big. most people in the actually in Europe, I don't know if it's the same in Asia or around the world. We say, oh, we've got to sleep before midnight because the quality of sleep is better before midnight. The quality of sleep is better than afterwards, right? So it's always to make the kids going to bed early to try to sleep early. And in reality, most of us sleep much better in the second part of the night than in the first part. Okay. And the reason is that most of the time in our society, the dinner is the most important meal of the day, and so we eat a lot, and usually too late, because by the time that everybody's back from the day of work, of school, done with the different activities, we eat quite late. So, and that you've got to understand that one of the things that for the body to recover, for the body to sleep, we've got to have a decrease of body temperature between the evening and the morning. We lose 1 to 1.5 degree of temperature. Okay. And but as long as we've got digestive activity in the gut, the process of losing the internal heat to the outside cannot occur. So we've got to be careful how we feed ourselves and when we feed ourselves. So we've got to know that if you eat vegetables and or slow carbs, whatever, it takes about 2 hours to digest. Okay. If you take fatty meal, the fat takes 4 hours to be digested, and if you eat proteins, it takes 6 hours to digest.
So protein is an animal protein, fish. Even fish,
animal protein, fish, lamb, cheese, pork, lamb, lamb. All animal proteins take 6 hours to digest. Okay. So if you sleep, let's say, at 8 o'clock, and you eat a good steak, and then even if you go to sleep at 10, actually you're not going to sleep before 2 o'clock in the morning.
Means quality sleep. You talk about the quality.
Because it would take till 2 o'clock for the digestive process of your gut to be finished, and then the recovery activity can start to take place.
So Michel, you just promoted the people who like to go out on the weekend to have a meal, have a steak, and then party until 2 o'clock because there's no point going home because I'm not going to be able to sleep. Michel, you're doing a reverse promotion. What we talk about.
but to some extent it's right, and myself I'm not a rigorist. You know, I don't. Life is made to be enjoyed, and so if you do everything right, 5 out of 7 days, and you can go out for party in the weekend, it's fine. But what are you going to do if you go to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning? You're going to sleep longer in the morning. Yeah. Because you're going to have the time, and then you can have your rest time as well. And so to me, okay, it's not
flexible. Yeah.
It's not perfect, but if you've got to do that, you can do it once a week.
So basically, you're saying after we spoke last time, I made those changes. All the meats, animal proteins were shifted to lunch after we spoke a couple of weeks ago. The kids were a little bit, they weren't thrilled, but you know, it is what it is. And we switched it, right? And all the vegetarian meals were at night. And, you know, and so that's what you recommend, basically saying that animal proteins during the
morning and lunch.
Yes. And then at dinner, stick to the veg.
As much as you can. Yes. Okay, and did you feel the difference?
Yeah, I can feel it, but I haven't asked the kids. I'll ask them what difference they felt.
The kids will tell you no because they don't enjoy it.
Okay, so that's one on the food side, right? So 2 hours, 4 hours,
6 hours. Okay. So that's the rhythm of the the rhythm of the meal. But if you eat early, if you eat at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, then you can eat whatever you want. I don't mind.
Then you have to be Chinese, right? Or
exactly.
Asian,
So
right? To eat 5, 6 o'clock is
exactly.
a bit tough
Yeah, exactly.
for
But,
the Europeans, especially the Spanish.
that's lunch at 5 for the Spanish. It's 5 o'clock. It's lunch for them.
But are there statistics of a higher issue of insomnia in Spain? Are there any statistics in some of these Mediterranean countries? Because they always talk about the Mediterranean diet.
They also they live at night and they take naps in the afternoon. Huh?
Okay, so that's okay. So what is the value of a nap to the people listening?
If it's in the Mediterranean country, they do a couple of hours nap. It's a long nap. Huh?
Yeah.
So I guess they've got the good amount of sleep hours.
So if somebody wants to nap, what is the recommended time? Because everybody talks about these power naps and people talk about a longer nap. Like, do you have any comments on that or not really?
I think all naps are good.
Okay.
It's true that you can just take a 3-minute nap and feel refreshed a lot. Okay. But if you're really tired, you need to have a longer nap.
Yeah.
Myself in the weekend, the Saturday or the Sunday, I usually take a good after my morning activities. I love to take a nap to recover for all the fatigue that I had during the week. And it brings me a lot to recover. But there is a lot of people that they say, oh, I cannot take naps. A lot of people are afraid to naps. They feel that they are wasting their time or whatever. They cannot take a nap. But to me, it's if I feel like having a nap, I take it.
Okay.
Because
so
sometimes
there's no rule. It's about how they feel, whether it's short, whether it's longer. It's based on however they feel, right? There's no rule.
Exactly.
On the nap side. Okay.
They feel but when they wake up, sometimes they don't feel well right away because they've got a hard time to get started in the game. But it doesn't mean that the nap is not good for them. Huh? It's just that they don't like to do it.
Okay.
And or they've got a hard time to start again to get moving. But
so that's the comments on the nutrition side. Any about on the movement side or other things?
Okay, exercise. One big issue. The type A person, the typical type A person that works all day, like their face like crazy, finish work at 7 p.m. and he's got his best friend who's going to play a good squash game or badminton, a very heavy exercise, or doing in the fitness a bike session where they kill each other. You've got to realize that when you do heavy exercise, the main thing is that you produce stress hormone, you produce cortisol, you produce a lot of stress hormone. Yeah. And those stress hormones, but they've got a half-life of 4 hours, which means that you've got this increased level of stress that will prevent the sleep induction. So there is a lot of people, those people that are doing the heavy exercise in the evening, they cannot sleep before 1 or 2 in the evening.
You're saying half cycle is 4, means it's an 8 hour, the gap between
the half cycle, that means 50, it takes 4 hours to remove 50% of the stress hormone produced. So it is at least, so it's very long. So
if I'm going to go to bed at 10, I need to finish my exercise by 2.
So, but you don't do heavy exercise.
Okay.
You don't do, in the evening, you should do heavy exercise latest 5 o'clock.
Okay, so that's still okay. But then that means, what you're saying by 9,
you do the heavy exercise between the morning and the afternoon, and in the evening, you can do light exercise. Okay. Which will promote parasympathetic activation. You do a yoga session in the evening. You do some stretching. You just walking. It will induce parasympathetic low intensity activity will induce help you to induce, because actually low activity will consume the stress hormone that you produce during the day.
Okay.
So it will help you to. So
meditation also will help, right? Meditation is a great. So
exactly.
now, so you're saying 4 hours before you go to bed, or that's half cycle. So I'm still not understanding.
But when you're down to 50%, when you're down to 50%,
okay.
if you do heavy exercise at 5 o'clock, you finish at 6.
Yeah.
When you go to bed at 11, you should be fine.
Okay. Okay. So just the 4 hours is the number. So half cycle is enough.
The heavy exercise not later than 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. So finish
otherwise
by
it will, otherwise it will, is going to affect your sleep a lot. Okay. So exercise. What else can we do? We talk about.
What about reading? What about reading? What about telephone calls, meetings, Zoom calls? I mean, other than the light, I mean, obviously you're emotionally and mentally.
Yeah, but then it depends. It depends. What are you discussing? If it's working, working would be more stressful. Right now, we are quite relaxed, but I'm not 100% relaxed. I try not to say too many stupid things, so I pay attention to what I'm saying. So I concentrate. Then I'm going to be more tired after the session. For sure, and it's not going to be harassing. But if you talk to friends, if you enjoy music, reading, everything, then it's going to be parasympathetic activation. Okay. So everything that stimulates parasympathetic system is going to improve sleep. Everything that creates sympathetic activation is going to disturb it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so now you want to go to where some of the people are. Some of them are wearing sleep app machines, some of them have insomnia, or you want to discuss something else before we go to that extreme?
Okay, so maybe we could try to give some little tips for people.
Yes, please.
For people that they do have insomnia.
Yes.
To try to give them some solution.
Yes, please.
And that are going to help them to shorten the time of insomnia, and so they help them to go back to sleep. So, let's start with the first, the most common. The most common thing is I talked to you about the fact that we've got to bring the internal heat to the outside. Yes. So we've got to have that decrease of body temperature, internal body temperature. Yeah. And so quite often people, it doesn't start nothing happened for quite a while during for the sleep. Nothing happened for quite a while, and all of a sudden it's as if the skin blood vessel open up right away, and they wake up and they feel very hot.
Ah, okay.
They wake up. Usually it's at between 2 and 3 o'clock. It's typically that time zone around 3 that they wake up. Okay. And they feel very hot. Okay. It can be due to the fact that they ate too much the night before. It can be to that fact as well. Huh? So if you do properly, you eat properly in the evening, it's much less likely to happen during the night. But if it does happen, that means your system is starting is bringing too much heat outside right away, and it does disturb your sleep. So in that case, you've got to do whatever you can to get to cool you down. Okay. And the quickest you can cool you down, the fastest you're going to be able to go back in a normal sleep cycle, and then sleep very well. Because once you've got the decrease of the decrease of body temperature is done, that's when you sleep the best. Okay. That's when the sleep is the deepest. Okay. So if you do wake up in the middle of the night and you feel very hot, don't stay in your bed and cover yourself and turning in every way and trying to fall asleep again. Just stand up, go put water on your face, water on your wrist. Try to keep cooling you down. Cool you down as quickly as you can, and then once you cool down, you go back to bed, and you're going to fall asleep much easier.
And what about the room temperature? If you're saying cooling down, what would be the room temperature? Because we talked about this the other day.
Yeah, the room temperature has to be quite 18 degrees Celsius is the best. Even lower if you got a good
duvet.
It's better.
I mentioned 19 to you, and you said that was fine. So 19,
18, 19 is fine.
Okay.
But you've got to be able to cool yourself well.
Okay.
And once it's cool, then you can sleep properly.
Okay. So one scenario, I wake up and I'm feeling very hot. I cool myself down. I get back in bed. I go to sleep.
You can walk through the apartments of the house.
To cool down.
Go to the window. If it's fresh outside, you go to the window. You do some respiration in front of the window, so if you think anything you can figure out to cool yourself.
To cool down. Okay.
And that I would say that's 30 to 40% of people waking up in the middle of the night have that issue.
Okay. All right. So
it's a very common one. The other one that is okay. There is the other one that where you know that the blood vessel of the skin are under sympathetic system control.
Okay.
So if you're too much stress, if your sympathetic system is way too high, and the sympathetic system has a tendency to shut down the blood supply. So that means you've got a hard time, if you've got too much sympathetic activity, you've got a hard time to open up the vessel. And so then you've got a hard time to lose the body temperature. Yeah. So that's why I give you the example of the people where the sympathetic when the sympathetic system stops, then everything open up right away. Yeah. Then they feel very hot. But there is some people that the sympathetic system is not stopping during the night, and then they cannot lose the body temperature.
Okay, so what do we do with that?
So in this situation, people they've got to they rub their skin with something that is to scratch their skin.
Okay.
To create the decrease of sympathetic activation, so they can do that all over all the body in order to create the increase of flow of the skin, which will then let them.
It's like a brush. You use one of those brushes. I see people using those brushes.
In French, it's called gant de crin in French. I don't know how you say that in English.
Gant de crin. Okay, I'll look it up. Yeah. So but gant is a glove. It's a glove.
Scratch your skin to make it reddish.
Okay.
And then it will increase the blood flow to the tissue.
So you recommend doing this in the middle of the night or before you go to bed?
If it happens all the time, you can do it before going to bed.
Okay.
If it's once in a while, you do it when you wake up in the middle of the night.
Okay.
It takes 5-6 minutes, and then you get the release of the temperature, and then the system will work.
Wow. Okay.
And then the main things. Because people that have insomnia, their worst enemy is themselves. Because a lot of people that have insomnia all the time, when they fall asleep, they are afraid that they're going to wake up in the middle of the night.
So they have this whole expectation.
So they fall asleep anxious to the fact that they're
going to wake up. Yeah.
They're going to wake up. Which, once that the anxiety process is, they're almost sure to wake up in the middle of the night because
they've created it.
They create the anxiety level. So So it's very easy to say for me that because I don't have any sleep issue, so it's very easy for me to say that. But it's very important that if you do wake up in the middle of the night, you accept it.
Okay, it is what it is.
That's the way it is, and that's it. Don't be nervous about it. Don't be anxious about it.
Don't be upset. A lot of people are upset.
I gave you solution for as far as how to eat in the evening, how to exercise, what to do. We just gave you 5 or 6 different solutions, and that you can try to apply. Then you've got to find your solution.
Yeah, and the solution is definitely not watching TV and the news in the middle. It's definitely not watching a movie.
Exactly.
It's definitely none of those. No, because that's what a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, right? I know.
They get so fed up, they start watching TV. They start checking their emails. They start doing all kinds of things, and it just makes things even harder.
Exactly, and then it's finished because so accept the fact. Try to figure out ways to calm yourself, get your body temperature right, because you understand that the body temperature is very important for sleep quality. And then if you do that, then you're going to be okay. And then you're going to be able to shorten the 45 minutes being awake to 10 to 15 minutes, and then it's okay. And the most important is to get back to normal. Even if you lose half life cycle during cycle of sleep during the night, if you get back to sleep afterwards, it's fine.
Yeah.
So the anxiety that is generated for people that wake up all the time, it's the worst thing that can happen.
Now, what about, I want to ask a couple more questions. One is, what is the role of having melatonin? Is that something that you are okay with, you recommend, or it's case by case? Like, what is your feeling on that?
I do sometimes prescribe melatonin.
Okay.
It can work very well, but again, I like better to prescribe tryptophan and the precursors. So the body does the job. And it's always trying to get back to let the body do the job, and force the body to do his job.
Okay, rather than give it the candy. Okay, and what about those who are using sleep app machines? Are there any specific recommendations for them? Because there's a number on the call who are.
I don't. I just. I admire a lot of those people that using CPAP machine, because I wouldn't be able to sleep with one of those machines myself. I think. No, I think it's tough, but it's very difficult to give advice for that. But on the other hand, if they do have a lot of sleep apnea all the time, the quality of sleep is so bad normally that they feel relief. They feel a lot of relief with the machine, even though they don't sleep as well as they should.
Yeah.
The pros and cons is so much in favor of the machine that they usually feel great with the machine, even though they've got a hard time to deal with the things. At the end of the night, they feel better than without the machine. Okay. But I would say that before using the machine, they should try the orthèse, and the thing that you can put in your mouth to try to open the. To try to open up the thing, it push the jaw in front and opens and to me, a lot of people are using too soon the CPAP, and they can use the orthesis before trying the CPAP, try the orthesis, and if it works, perfect, and if it doesn't, then you go to the machine.
Okay.
To me, that's one important thing.
I'm not seeing any questions. Everyone, please, more than happy to answer questions specific. What are the things, now in terms of what other elements of sleep should they know about? You've covered the chemicals, you've covered get sleep, you've covered brain sleep, you've covered insomnia. So if I want So now I have psychologically this element that if I don't get 4 good sleep cycles, I mean, my target is 5, you know, again, that's probably the anxiety creating it, that I am maybe not rested. So is this just in my head and I have to focus on how I'm feeling? Or is that a target I should keep, which is 5 sleep cycles? Because I keep a cushion.
To me, those 5 sleep cycles are theoretical.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easy to measure sleep quality is very easy.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
I know
take
variability
you can
and,
take any heart rate variability device, and they will give you your answer.
yeah.
And then you work you work
So
from
measure it, and then
and
come back
then
rather than just assume and create these fictitious numbers.
Because we are all different, right? So the normality is only 1/3 of the people. Like there is always 2/3 of the people that are outside, and it doesn't mean they are sick. It doesn't mean they are abnormal. They just function differently. So,
and again, timing of sleep also is the same. You're saying that if I'm a morning person, I'm an afternoon person,
yeah,
right?
And you know that the kid. It's always a question with the adolescent kids, right? They tend to go to bed later and later, right?
Yes.
Which is a physiological thing. So it's normal that the young adults sleep later than adults. Huh?
Okay.
The circadian circle of a young adult is different from an adult.
And the elderly are sleeping much less. Is that what do you recommend that?
No, I don't recommend to sleep less. Huh?
Okay, so it's not that I'm older, therefore I need less sleep. Again, this is another.
No. I think the older you get, the more sleep you need. Remember, one of the main things that happen when you get older is low-grade inflammation.
Yes.
And low-grade inflammation is very commonly due to a lot of older people complain of not sleeping as well as they used to.
Yes.
Usually the sleep quality decrease with age. So we've got on the contrary, I think the older you get, the more you've got to work on the quality of sleep.
So when you're young, you're sleeping 9-10 hours. Remember, a lot of children are sleeping 9, 10, 11, 12. When you're older, again, we need to push it back towards that.
Exactly.
And in the middle, I guess you measure and you see how you go.
Exactly, and you feel.
And in terms of longevity, right? In terms of longevity, I mean, I know it's all about longevity. Again, sleep is core, but
sleep is recovery, is catabolic activity, is repairing your system.
Yeah.
So the more you're able to repair your system, the less likely you're going to develop disease or whatever things that can go wrong. Yeah. And so
there's a question again talking about, I mean, I have, my mom is over 70. She goes to bed at 9:30, but wakes up at 3, and she can't go back to sleep again. So I guess the tips that you've shared, she should share with the mother, even though she's already had 5.5 hours sleep, right? Because that's still not, right? Okay. And again, melatonin, they're asking, I guess it's case by case, like you said, it's not about.
And there is the morning people, they would always wake up at between 5 and 6 anyway. The morning person, they love to be at work, and they do their things at 5 or 6 in the morning, and that's when they enjoy the best of the day. The best part of the day for them is at 5 or 6 in the morning.
Are you seeing that change as people age? Are you seeing the circadian rhythm, like you said, adolescent, it changes? Does it change again during the life? Are you seeing, or not really? Or it stays pretty consistent?
No, I think there is also. We'll see if it lasts. Older generation, they used to start working at 7 in the morning
Yes.
all the time. Huh?
Yes.
The saying that the world belongs to people that wake up early. Huh? That the saying that we.
Yeah. If you wake up after 5, you're never going to be successful.
If you want to do something with your life, you've got to wake up early and things like that.
Yes.
So the old generation, they were raised like that, and they were applying that. Huh? So
Yes.
Which to me, the way I understand things, to me, I would rather be for the family. I would use the breakfast as a, if it was possible, I would start the day later. I would use the breakfast as the family main meal. So
Okay.
we share the time with the family in the morning. Then everybody goes. So you've got a big meal. You do the activity. Then you go through your life, and then in the evening you share something light before going to bed. And to me that would be better than what we are doing now, where we don't take breakfast in the morning because we didn't sleep well, so we sleep as late as we can. We don't take breakfast. We eat short things lunchtime, no, just a sandwich because we don't have time, and we go back to work, and then we spend 2 hours in the evening eating, and then which disturb the whole circle.
Yeah.
So to me, that would be better to organize the family life the opposite of what we are doing right now.
Yeah, I think on the weekends will be very easy, but I guess in the weekday, a lot of people with schools, timings. I mean, these are all excuses, right? Let's be honest.
That would be a social.
When there's a will, yeah, but
that
when
would
there's
be
a will,
social
there's a way.
reorganization, complete social reorganization. The kids should start school at 10.
That's what they do in Spain, right? They start.
I guess so.
They start. Yeah.
So they should start at 10 and then finish at 6 in the evening. But that wouldn't be the problem. But then the whole way we are functioning should be different.
Should be changed, yeah. So we've got just a couple minutes left. Are there any specific things you'd like to address and some closing remarks? I mean, we talked on a bunch of tips and things to do. Anything that comes to mind?
I think we covered quite a lot. What else? I don't know.
So what about for the younger adolescents? I mean, the younger children. Is there any specific things on that, or they just naturally sleep well and that's just the way it is?
That would be the same.
Okay.
But accepting the fact that they must go. We've got to accept they go to bed a bit later, and hopefully they are able to wake up a bit later as well.
Okay, that's the adolescents, right?
For the adolescents to give them 1 or 2 hours shift if they can.
Sure.
But if they've got school, they've got school. Huh? It's as everybody else. So they also have to manage their own. Even if the circadian rhythm from one people to the other can change, they've got to adapt to the society. Huh? So
and having a different rhythm on the weekends in terms of sleeping in or like, okay, napping, I understand. But sleeping in, having a different rhythm, does that impact the sleep going back in the weekday, or you feel? Because I mean, is it? What do you recommend?
I think that if you can have 2 days a week where you can go at really your own rhythm, that I think that's a good thing.
Without an alarm, without anything, just wake up whenever you wake up.
Exactly.
Right, go to bed as you feel tired, and wake up whenever you wake up.
And wake up when you wake up, and do the things that you've got to do. But always putting the main way to build the regular circadian rhythm is physical activity. The physical activity is a good ways to set up the internal clock in our system.
Okay, so that is very important for the cortisol side, right?
Exactly, and the general circadian rhythm.
Yeah. Okay.
So
all right, Doctor. Go ahead, Michel.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So thank you very much, Michel. Thank you very much for your time. Really, I learned a lot myself. I mean, some of the things, the myths I had in my head are now hopefully gone. I hope it was very helpful to those listening, because I know that at least 30–40% of the families that we care for, the individuals, have challenged sleep. and then obviously we talked about gut last time. Again, a large number are dealing with those elements as well. So we are now going to be helping many of them to do the tests as you described with the heart variability test and a Garmin watch as part of it. So that way we can really measure and not just assume how many sleep cycles are needed, but actually look at what is the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system balance, and am I getting the true rest and recovery that I need, so that I don't just assume things. All right. So thank you very much, Michel. Truly an absolute honor and privilege. I know we just get to chat and everybody gets to listen, but I'm sure this was of great value. And thank you again for taking care of a number of our families and individuals, as they experience what they do, especially when it comes to performance, precision performance, which you're taking care of a lot of the big Swiss athletes that are really world-renowned. So thank you, Michel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
We're going to be back next week with Peter Vogel from IMD, who's going to talk about the 5 keystone touchstones of running a healthy family enterprise. And that's, again, same time. And so again, thank you very much for your time. Michel, thank you. And
take care.
Goodbye to
Bye-bye, everyone.
See you next week. Thank you. Thank you.